People.
I don't know why I typed that. I could have just as easily said it. Flat Earth, if you prefer. I'm also open to debating social justice, foreign policy, basically what I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm a debunker. If you want, you could just post positions in the chat. I mean, if people are too scared, I would totally understand. I'm kidding, by the way. Hey, Quinn. Yeah, go tell your sister to shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Hey, I'm out of bed, babe.
Fine. People.
Little brother.
Not so little.
I don't have a proper microphone, so I've got to use the open mic on my computer, and it picks up everything within, 30 feet. What's my position on the Big Bang? Well, I don't know why I'm making it seem like it's such a complicated question. I do accept the Big Bang as a scientific truth. I try to avoid using the word believe as much as possible because for me there's not a modicum of faith involved. It's more acceptance than belief. No, JEH39, but they do have pictures of the Big Bang. Of course, it's more like if you took a picture of a bug squished on the sidewalk, and then just by looking at that photo, you determine somebody must have stepped on it.
Not talking to me!
Atheist Rex, what is this? Don't be condescending with me, Jay. Yeah, I would say so. If somebody presented a model to me that
You're one ugly boat.
made more sense than the current one, yeah, I would agree with that.
Bye.
The big bump theory? What's that, other than a poor attempt at a joke? Hey, do you know what happened to my mattress pads? My big, cushy foam things?
Mom?
The gray pad.
Mom has.
Why?
And if not, Grandma has them.
They're not in there? Oh, no, wait. No, they're under me.
If not.
Yeah, it's really fucking sensitive, and it's really obnoxious. Actually, give me just a minute. I'm going to try and fix that. Okay, can anybody hear me? Anybody? Yeah, it looks like it's picking up. The question is... Oh, no, it's good. I suppose I could just open up the stream and figure out how bad it is. All right, perfect. Yeah, I'm currently using the default headset that came with my PS4. Not good now. Fuck. Oh, never mind. No, it's good. It's not good now. Fuck, I messed that up bad. I'm going to share this on Twitter and see if maybe I can get some more people in here. Ooh, Jeff, Grand Slam. The absolute worst thing you can say is, I have no idea who you are. Wait, so, Jeff, do you support Flat Earth? The Flat Earth theory, I mean, or are you against the idea of Flat Earth? I'm getting mixed signals here. I mean, if anybody has literally any questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability. My favorite color... I don't have one favorite color, I have two, and that's purple and green. There's my mic. See if I can get this. No, Jeh, I do not. I'm an atheist. Pretty much always have been. Why not? Well, I wouldn't say I don't believe in Jesus. Do I think there's a possibility that maybe he existed at some point? Possibly. But my reason for not believing in God that's a much more complicated subject. Right on. Jesus. Atheist Rex, you weren't lying. Jeff is almost creepily polite. That's way too tolerant. I won't stand for it. Whoa. John, let's not make things heated. I like this. It's very rare that I can go online and proclaim openly that I'm atheist without immediately being bombarded with, you're going to hell, you're evil, how can you say such a heretical thing, blah blah blah. And so it's very nice to not have that. And no, I wouldn't say that. John's voicing his opinions, and that's good. It's good for people to have an open dialogue, but it's also important to try to avoid words that would spark what's what I'm looking for, conflict. There we go. Do you believe the Earth is a globe and the blue marble image? Yes, I do believe that Earth is spherical in shape. Again, god damn it, Jeh, you made me use the word believe. I don't like that. Wait, why do I think the Earth is a globe? Because I have no reason to think otherwise, honestly. There's the amount of information supporting surrounding a spherical Earth it's overwhelming. There's an insane amount of information and an insane amount of science that revolves around the Earth being round. Things that could be tested in everyday life to, you could go out right now and see that the Earth is round. If the Earth was flat, you'd be able to see all the way to the end of it unless there was something obstructing your view. But if you go out on the ocean and you look straight across the ocean, you're not going to see empty space off in the distance. You're going to see a horizon. Show me proof Earth is globe. It's hard to make a case like that because, like I said, there's an overwhelming amount of evidence, and I'd rather not cherry pick which ideas I believe or I accept to be truths. It's much easier to base an argument off of the beliefs that somebody else holds because that gives you a borderline or gives you a baseline for where you're at and where you need to go from there. No, I don't think you busted me. Je. I don't know. How do you pronounce your name? Could you write it out phonetically? Type it out how it sounds? Or if it is just Je, just give me the thumbs up or something so I know. Yeah, that's pretty smart. I'll go with that then. Jeff, not Je. Yeah, 39. One of the big arguments you can make against God that makes the entire conversation pointless to have in the first place is, can you, through scientific method, prove or disprove that God exists? I am actually waiting for a response. I don't know if I made that clear, and I'm not trying to be condescending right now. I just wanted to make sure you knew. The blue marble is your God image if you believe it and have never seen it. Okay, we'll get into that in just a second, but I had a very specific question. Can you, using the scientific method, prove or disprove the existence of God? And this is a very important question, trust me. Okay, well, I wasn't trying to put you on the spot or get you to do anything like that. I was looking for a yes or no answer. And, the trend is, not the trend, but the answer is no. No, the scientific method would be an extremely appropriate way to prove or disprove God. The scientific method is the basis of all scientific discovery. You've got, you make a hypothesis. So let's say for the sake of this argument that my hypothesis is that God doesn't exist. You come up with an experiment. There isn't an experiment to test for something like that. There isn't a test to prove or disprove the existence of God. But so I can't test that, right? If I can't experiment to try and prove or disprove my hypothesis, if I can't collect data on this experiment, God doesn't exist within the boundaries of science. Okay, so no, Jem presents a very good point. The scientific method does only deal with the natural, with the tangible, I guess you could say. It deals with what you can prove or disprove. So if you cannot prove or disprove something, then there's no point in having a scientific discussion about it. It cannot be falsified and cannot be proven. Therefore, it's irrelevant to discuss. And then once you get into that territory, it's no longer about science, it's about philosophy. Show you proof that the earth is round. Now, there's nothing that I can say, and I've got heaps of shit that I could. There's nothing that I could say to convince you of a spherical earth or dissuade you from believing that the earth is flat because, at this point, and I don't mean any offense to the other flat earthers in here, but you get to a certain point when scientific beliefs become hostile when somebody tries to provide evidence. And more often than not, when I have discussed this topic with flat earthers, no, I'm not saying there's no proof. There's plenty of proof. But what I'm saying is there's no proof that I could give to you that would adequately sway your position to consider either one of us a winner or a loser. And because we have no third party here, no, 39, globe earth is a belief religious God. No, it's not a belief like religion. You see, the thing about religion, the reason it's called religion is because it requires faith. I don't have faith in the science behind a spherical earth. I accept the scientific data that has been presented to me, just like you accept and agree with the scientific data that's been placed in front of you. And I'm not gonna change my stance. I don't know the exact definition of religion, but I'm gonna look it up really quick, and I'm not afraid to admit that I'm a cheater. Oh, come on. The definition of religion is the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or god. There's also two other definitions: plural noun, a particular system of faith and worship, and a pursuit or interest to which someone ascribes supreme importance. So when you say, can I prove or disprove flat Earth? No more than you could prove or disprove globe Earth to me. See, that's just it though. 39. If I were to go about it and try to find clues, it would be biased. It would be, because I don't have all the information to go out and experiment and observe in order to make an informed opinion. So at this point in time, I'm sure, like many flat earthers too, the only sort of experimentation that they've done has been, I guess, presented to them by biased parties. Oh, I'm sorry, John, I didn't see your question, and I'm not sure where it is. Okay, fair enough, 39. John, if you could repost your question, or the point that you made. Okay, I'm defending the globe in the same way that you might defend flat earth theory. Oh, my bad. Give me a second. Across a nanosecond, faster than the speed of light. Nothing travels faster than the speed of light. No, actually. See, that's a tricky question, because no, Joseph, not particularly. It's sort of kind of all over the place. Well, I'm not, but you didn't. But I figured, because of your skepticism and your displeasure with my answer, I figured, I'm sorry, I made an assumption that you were a flat earther. But back to John. In the first few seconds of the Big Bang, according to what I know anyway, I'm not sure how accurate all of this is, but there wasn't mass. There was no mass. There was matter, but there wasn't mass, because there wasn't, fuck. Okay, give me like 2 seconds to collect my thoughts, because I'm fucking up. I'm trying to read the chat and everything here. No, it was a few seconds. The first like second or 2 seconds, I think. I don't know. It was fucking infinitesimally small compared to the length of the universe. Alright.
In the toilet.
So, from what I understand, in the first nanoseconds, if you'd like it, in the first few nanoseconds after the Big Bang, there was matter, but there wasn't any mass until the Boson-Higgs field, which was a field that came about momentarily after the energy release of the Big Bang. Where did the rest come from? Only 4 light gases were created in the Big Bang. Oh, okay. So those 4 light gases, because they were hold on, mate. Yeah, it is. It's a theory. But those 4 light gases, before the Boson-Higgs field, moved at the speed of light because they had no mass, and therefore no kinetic energy to act upon them to slow them down when they collided with other particles. The amount of energy that was exerted was so powerful that it basically destroyed the atoms and pulled the building blocks of atoms apart. And I don't mean protons, neutrons, electrons. I'm talking about quarks. No. I think there are 4 quarks in total, and these 4 quarks make up everything. And that is a truth. That is something that we have observed, is quarks, thanks to the Hadron Collider. So yeah, it's believed that these quarks came together.
Real names. Tell me their real fucking names. It's about time some real names get fucking spoken.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Hitchhiker. Go for it. I'm fucking this up anyway. Give me a minute to collect my shit. Go for it.
Adam Dwyer.
Oh, fuck you. 39. You've called my bluff. Oh, look, there's a person. Alright, will do. Okay, so, tell us something you know without preaching some theoretical nonsense. See, that's an issue, because most of what I'm comfortable with is theoretical nonsense. I'm really ill prepared. For one, I didn't expect to find a debate channel, and 2, I haven't been alive very long. How did we get here? I don't know, that depends, 39. No, I don't know, because I'm not a particle physicist or a theoretical physicist. I am a 19-year-old kid from a small town with a hobby. That's about it. 39, I can't give you globe proof. Anything that I say will be called theoretical nonsense. I'll stumble over my words, or it'll be the same pointless rhetoric that you've heard before.
Problem
problem with science is that everything's a bloody theory.
Alright. Okay. Okay, ball Earth. Somebody give me something to actually refute. I'm
Okay.
shit if I'm just proposing a statement or whatever.
Okay.
Thanks, Fanny.
So, instead of gravity, how about if I give you this? Anything heavier than light air particles will fall, and anything lighter than light air particles
Okay.
will rise.
Okay. What exactly is it? What's your point there? Am I arguing if the Earth is round, why things are still attached to it?
Well, they say gravity comes from the rotation of the Earth, do they not?
I would say it is a combination of that and the displacement of space. That's
Rather. Well, instead of gravity, anything that's lighter than the air particles which we cannot see in the air.
yeah.
Did I just say heavier or lighter?
Sorry. Repeat that.
Did I just say heavier or lighter?
I don't know.
Anything lighter than the air particles
Right.
will rise, and
Yeah.
anything heavier will fall.
Yeah. True.
So it's not about, gravity or space, whatever you said. Can you refute it?
No, I can't refute that. That's a commonly accepted law, pretty much, or not a law. It's a commonly accepted truth.
The law is the theory is that whatever must go up must come down. If I throw this ball in the air, in theory, it will fall. That's the theory of science, gravity.
Okay.
But I say, the ball that I'm throwing is heavier than the air particles in which I'm throwing it into. So of course it's going to bloody fall.
Oh, okay. Now I understand what you're saying. Okay. So, it's not the density that matters so much. Yeah, to an extent it does matter, but look at gases like a helium balloon.
I was thinking of that.
Okay, it's lighter than air, yes, but when you cool helium, it sinks. You can take the same volume and compress it, and it will still fall, or it will fall.
But in essence, you're making it heavier by compressing it. It's not natural, When you compress something, obviously, or you're putting your own stamp on it,
That is a good point. This is actually something that I've not heard.
Air particles,
Well, I mean, just as much as you could argue that it's not gravity, but the density of an object that pulls it to the Earth,
yes.
right? Well,
As opposed to
in space, there's no physical matter, right? And without physical matter, things would just float around, right?
Because there's no air particles,
Okay, now,
CO2 and oxygen.
if you believe that it's the density of an object and not the gravitational pull of an astral body, it becomes really difficult to build an argument against density.
Thank you very much.
It's a good point.
Thank you very much. Rather.
Because without a spherical planet, without globe Earth,
Yes.
gravity is a much more tedious thing to try and what's the word I'm looking for? Advocate.
Okay. Well, let's pretend we're scientists. Okay. Well, I'm a scientist, really, but pretend you're a scientist.
Okay.
And you have an agenda to fool the world.
Okay.
Maybe you yourself misled.
Right.
Now, if you want to come up with an alternative, theory for something in which, is heavier and so it falls, or is lighter so it raises into the air,
Okay.
So you come up with the idea or the concept of gravity, there's this imaginary force.
Okay.
Rather than
Density. Yeah, I gotcha. Well, if you're arguing that maybe the Earth is round, but it's still density, not gravity, then I would be able to say, why
But it
is
remains-
it that
it remains a possibility, Sorry.
if there is a ball Earth and it is rotating, then regardless of the density of an object, it would theoretically come away from the planet. But if you look at Earth as a ball and its gravity acting on this matter, then it becomes a much simpler argument to make. Because it's not just the density of an object, although that does have an effect. Lighter things will be able to pass through the atmosphere easier. Heavier things will sink because there's more for gravity to hold on to. The more mass, the more pull.
Okay. Well, there are a few things that, defy gravity. For example, we've talked about helium, When you capture helium, you can, of course, raise an object with it, provided it's light enough to do that.
Right.
You were talking about the Earth being a ball, but having no gravity.
Yeah.
It's a possibility,
No.
Have you seen the cameras that go into space, you know?
No.
You not know. Have you seen the GoPro camera?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the horizon, you know, have you looked at it?
Yeah.
And what do you think about it? Do you see a curve, you know?
Yes.
I see a curve also. And then, you know, they'll pause it, and then, you know, suddenly it's flat, you know? Because, you know, I don't know if it's because of the camera, you know? If the camera was perfectly still,
Right.
I mean, there are shots where you can see a slight curve, which leads me to believe that we're being lied to about the actual size of the Earth. The Earth could be much larger than what we imagine.
I suppose that's also true.
What about these undiscovered lands, you know, where supposedly they found lands as big as America, you know?
But then it becomes a question of, are you arguing that there's a conspiracy, or are you arguing that the Earth is spherical?
Well, you know, it depends if there's any validity to these stories about these explorers that have seen other lands. Everything's controlled, you know? Airspace is controlled, you know? Where you go in the sea is controlled, you know? You can't just pick up and sail, can you?
Not usually.
And of course, if you travel into foreign waters, of course, you must make yourself known.
Right.
So it's not very easy for somebody just to take a plane and go flying around, is it, you know, wherever they want to, because you can't fly to the North Pole, for example. North Pole. Strictly out.
All right. What then is your explanation of the north and south magnetic pole? And how is it that east is always east and west is always west? Unless there are, you know, unless the world really is more like a rectangle.
I mean, you know, we're talking about a number of possibilities here. We don't really know, well, I don't know personally, what exactly the Earth, you know, is. There could be, you know, some sort of magnetic interference coming from, you know, all around us, you know, at certain points on the Earth.
I would agree that there are some things that could be disputed, but most of that is on the basis of, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but basically magic, you know. It's, well, the reason that you can't see the edge of the world, and if you stand in the middle of a plane and turn in a circle, or if you stand on a boat in the middle of the ocean and turn in a circle, the horizon is going to be in a circle all the way around you. And that's because you're only seeing to the edge, or you're only seeing what the curvature of the Earth allows you to see. It's a lot easier to make that point when there's a diagram or something.
I know what you mean. I'm visualizing it as you speak. The one thing I'm going to say is, you know these videos that go, you know, 100,000 miles high into the sky?
Yeah.
Well, you know that slight curve that we can see?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be what the edge of the flat Earth would look like a slight curve, you know? Imagine that, you know? That's what you'd be seeing, huh? It wouldn't be perfectly flat, would it? If you were looking down on the disk, you would actually be seeing a sort of roundness to the outer edges, as if you were on a very huge planet, very large Earth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you were going up and you could obviously look down at the disk, you'd see. We can't go that high that we'd be able to see all of the disk, but you know.
Right.
We can see a roundness to the edge, can't we now?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
That could be the edge of the disk, you know?
Correct.
It wouldn't be flat, would it, you know? All these videos saying, look, it's flat. Well, bloody hell. Where the fuck would, you know, the Earth go? That's almost, you know, giving credence to Lord Stephen Christ, bloody. Shy. When you say that, you know?
Yeah, I can agree with that. There's also the argument to be made, and this depends on whether or not you believe that our traveling to our outer orbit and beyond is a hoax. But satellite, and the way that satellite orbiting works.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
They're not just floating above the planet.
No.
What they're actually doing is falling in the same direction that the Earth is rotating. So they're perpetually falling forever.
Would you not say that they're being, you know, guided around by the Earth's magnetism? Is that not the official line?
No, I would say it's gravitation.
You know, when you slingshot around a planet, you know, in Armageddon, or bloody Interstellar, you know, when you slingshot around a bloody planet, solar, you know, being,
right?
You use the gravitational pull to slingshot yourself around it, you know?
Yeah, well, it's the same basic principle.
Yes.
But the satellite is close enough that it's not going to get shot off by the momentum produced by that rotation. It's just going to perpetually fall forever.
Yes.
Okay, so we can agree on that then.
The thing is, you know, you can see, like, supposedly the International Space Station, when you look from, you know, the ground into the night sky, you could see the satellite passing above it.
This is a problem here with you Americans and you people over there in
If you can see the satellite of the ISS, well, why can't you see all the bloody others?
The Earth. Fanny, have you ever measured the Earth? Have you ever gone out, gotten a theodolite, and measured the Earth yourself?
No.
Yes, with a tape measure, but it bloody wasn't long enough. I'm going to have to buy one of those bloody extended ones. Have you?
You being sarcastic?
Not at all. I went out there on the bloody field with a bloody tape measure. Was it bloody long enough? No, got about halfway.
You can't measure the Earth with a ruler, mate. You've got to get yourself a nice theodolite, or at least like
I didn't say a ruler.
General depth on your
Tape measure.
To the tape measure.
Yes.
It's not a.
At least I tried.
I feel like you're being a little sarcastic here. Doesn't
No.
seem like that.
Never. So what about you? Do you think the Earth is flat or concave or bloody ball?
It's obviously a globe, mate.
Obviously. So where do you, rest your assumption there?
Tesla.
Tesla. So Tesla provided pictures of the Earth, did he? No, he didn't, did he? Oh well. So how can you base your opinion on
You're
just...
just a consumer. I mean, this is all you guys got to say. It's NASA lies, looks flat, smells flat, so it must be flat. You're all the
Excuse me?
same. NASA lies,
I'm
looks
not a
flat,
flat earther.
smells flat. It must be flat.
I'm not a flat earther. I'm a scientist. Just trying to discover the truth, the actual truth.
It smells like a globe. I mean, if you just take a whiff, you can smell that it's a globe.
The last time I took a whiff, it smelled like a farm, Shit.
Nice.
So tell me about Tesla,
You see, Tesla and Schulberger, they were the ones that really knew what was going on, if you understand what I mean.
Yes, I mean, HARP. You know HARP?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Based on Tesla's,
I don't quite know how to play, but I think it's nice.
It's based on Tesla's work, controlling the weather. Tesla was the idea.
You can smell the heart machine. It smells horrible.
I can't smell any curvature.
All right.
All I smell is shit.
The biggest thing that gets lost when we have conversations like this, things that are controversial topics that have scientific evidence showing either one, whether or not they are true, is still, it's out to session or whatever the fuck you want to say.
Ad hominem.
Thank you.
Who's bringing this guy in? He sounds like a fag.
Never.
Yeah, I am
He
a
sounds
fuck
quite
idiot
genuine.
anyway. Okay,
These guys you're fucked in the head, mate.
listen.
He's genuine.
Okay, listen.
He's genuine.
What is the point of having this argument? Both positions believe both.
It's obviously a globe. If you can't get
no, I'm with you on that. But I'm also saying
you just
before
a paid shield. I mean,
what is the point of arguing? Both sides believe they have substantial evidence to prove their own positions, and they are willing to twist
who's in the
logic
background?
however
Who's in
it
the background?
serves.
I think somebody back there telling you what to say. Are you shield? You paid shield? You troll?
Is there really an answer, I mean, could he really prove to me by just what he said there? Could he prove his answer?
Fuck.
Hello?
Hello.
It's not a simple answer, If I say, well, what proof have you got to prove that the Earth is bloody round, Tesla's not the bloody... I mean, he's great, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, well, Tesla, but that's not proof.
No. See,
Is there any definitive kind of proof out there?
both positions have personal stakes in it, and once you bring in a personal attachment to a subject, you thereby remove all objectivity. It then makes any future discussions or dialogue pointless because neither position is willing to give way on their positions. They'll hear it out, listen to what they have to say, but they're always going to have some argument or some rebuttal
Yes, I
that's
agree.
going to make the previous statement invalid. Or
sometimes I've managed to, stop somebody from doing that, When talking about 9/11, it was like, coming up with all sorts of arguments, saying, well, if they was gonna bloody do 9/11, why would they not kill anybody? Why would they fake it? I said, listen, if you were going to use a plan to start a war with another country, and you wanted to, in inverted commas, kill your own people, unquote, then how would you do it, Would you actually kill the people, or would you try and fool people? Would you use your media to fool people, rather than actually just killing people and then saying, look, they did this, you could actually fake it, Operation Northwoods.
Right.
Listed in detail how to fly planes off the ground, change the numbers in the air, crash them into prominent landmarks, and blame it on Cuba to start a war. Fidel Castro. It's all right there, black and white.
That's always an issue when discussing or debating things that could be considered conspiracies or controversial topic with evidence supporting either argument, is you end up going down the rabbit hole and nobody ends up making any points.
No, but
They just end up disproving everything.
This gentleman, I know what you're saying, isn't it cognitive dissonance? But this gentleman actually, came around to my idea in the end. And I told him it's not a theory, it's a hypothesis. I told him, people that claim they saw, Flight 93, crash into the Shanksville, and also, the other one, that flew into the Pentagon. They say, oh, I saw the plane fly over and there was a big bang, so, I saw the plane. Well, no, you didn't actually see it. You just saw the plane fly over, and you heard a big bang. You saw a big bang. You did not actually see the plane fly into the building. And mounds of dirt were erected around the Pentagon on 9/11. You can check that out. Also, New York Times article 8 out of the 10 that wrote the commission report, they came out and they said we were misled. I mean, I go one further. I say to them, you knew what was going on. You weren't misled. You're just, changing your mind now. You're trying to, fool people because of all the proof that's out there.
Right.
John F. Kennedy Airport is directly behind the Pentagon. All they had to do was fly a plane over, fire a missile or blow up a bomb, and say it was a plane. Simple.
It's
It's going to fool people, what's the easiest way to do it? Is it actually to kill people so you've got like lots of families that are like demanding the truth, No, you use a bloody plane with nobody in it. Then you've got no accountability. You've got no, real family. You didn't kill anybody. You just flew an empty plane or you blew a missile up in Shanksville. That's all you did. You didn't kill anybody, but you created lots of families, fake families. You created them and you used them to start war. Consensus for war, 3,000 dead. You need minimum to start war. That's what they did.
It seems like 39's getting pissy. And honestly, John, I'm with you there. I have no argument for why Flat Earth is false, and I have no argument for why Globe Earth is true. I don't claim to be an authority on the subject, which is where this debate sort of falls apart. I don't have the information
in a nutshell,
debate.
a lot of it comes from when NASA has obviously created these images of Earth, claim they're real, when quite clearly they're not. And they say they went to the moon,
Yeah,
a picture of Earth, blue marble, I've seen 1 or 2 pictures in my life. It looks real, There's a curve, 1 or 2 that I could say, well, they look rather genuine, You can see the clouds, the detail. Only God could create that image,
Yeah.
I mean, it could be all a thing to just deceive you, where they give you fake images, they slyly tell you that they're montages,
That's the thing. That's what I was, that's what I'm saying. The flat Earth debate is still going on because neither side is willing to lose any ground, and the same goes here. I'm very firm in my, acceptance. Like I said, I try to stay away from belief, but I'm very firm in my acceptance of a globe Earth theory, just like many of the people in the chat are much more, or they orientate the flat Earth theory. And no amount of posturing and rhetoric is going to dissuade them from their position, especially on such a heated topic. People get defensive, and that's that's how arguments fall apart.
Yes, programming is very well done. Whether you believe the Earth's a ball or a flat, regardless. Because the power of the media. They see it in the film. It's reinforcement. Every time they see the ball, it's reinforcement. They see it again, reinforcement.
Yep.
And yes of reinforcement.
Yeah, well, it's just like how flat earthers seek out their own reinforcement for their own positions. Nobody likes to hear the opposition. Humans in general want to be correct about the stance that they've taken, and they dislike being disproved.
Yeah.
That goes for everyone. I've yet to meet somebody who's happy to be proved wrong.
When you grow older, you become more experienced. You learn wisdom. You learn to hear others. Some do.
No, 39.
Even the people you think are most unreachable, the ones that use humor and ad hominems to dismiss anything you're trying to say to them. Even those people have their moments of realization where they're like, he's bloody right, even if it's a bloody second in their head, because and then they'll forget about it because they don't want to, be wrong, as you say.
I definitely feel like Hitch is it would be the better person to debate you on the flat Earth topic.
Who's Hitch?
Hitchhiker Guide to Earth.
Why do you say that?
The Australian gentleman who is just in here because he shows a lot more conviction in his statements.
About what? A flat Earth or?
Yeah, just on his position in general. He's it makes for a much more interesting debate when you're not willing to concede your own stance as easily as I am.
People with bloody tunnel vision, it's not good. I can envisage every option, I'm always open. I may lean more to one option or one, opinion, but I never say, wholeheartedly, this is this or this is that, until you know conclusively.
Exactly. That's the big thing is I kind of I cracked under the pressure, people in the live chat. Well, it's sort of a big deal to be in a debate where you can't win or you can't lose, especially against somebody who's more confident than you are.
Yes, I know what you're saying. Also brash people, obnoxious people. They always, you're never gonna, get some kind of, it's ego, it's bravado.
Yeah. Like I said, this flat Earth is not my strongest subject. If you're willing to hear me out,
Yes.
I do have a few points, and I will concede the floor to you, and let you essentially have your way with them if you'd like.
That sounds very sexual.
Yeah, indeed. So my first argument is one that you brought up yourself. Is a boat sailing across the water and over the horizon, recorded via time lapse. That's one.
Really? Time lapse, okay.
The time lapse of a boat traveling across the horizon and then disappearing behind it.
Really? And they zoom in, and you can see it again, yes?
Yeah, yes. You can. I ran it back and watched it a million times because it blew my mind.
Really? Can I put you on pause a moment? I've just come up with something really quickly.
Sure.
They say that water's flat. Well, what the bloody fucking hell are waves? Come on. You want some curvature? Look at the waves. The waves are curves. Water's not bloody flat. It's bloody curving. Waves. Okay, carry on.
So yeah, there's the curvature of the Earth. When you see the boat go over the horizon and then disappear on the other side. There are also instances of people seeing lights from distant cities across great bodies of water.
Yes.
These are illusions created by
mirages.
Well, no, super cool bodies of water that then cool the atmosphere. When light passes through extreme temperatures, like in the case of a mirage, it will create reflections and even bend to an extent. Well, when the light passes over these extremely cold areas, the light bends downwards, falling towards gravity, which photons have been known to be affected by.
Gravity?
Making it possible.
Do you think gravity has anything to do with that, really?
Yeah. Well,
why? I mean, how can light move?
I scratched that. I remembered it bends towards the direction of the extreme temperature, or away from, depending on whether it's hot or cold. But forget gravity then. When the light passes over or passes through this cold air, it curves at a downward slant, making it possible for people on the other side of this huge body of water to see lights from a distant city that they previously could not see.
Yes.
And this has been documented and covered by everybody from Fox News to CNN to the Weather Channel website itself.
Well, you really need to decide whether or not it bends upwards with the hot air or downwards, because that will prove to you. I mean,
it bends downward with cold, up with warm. I had to get my shit straight. I've got a lot of shit going through my head right now.
Is there any possibility that hot air could be beneath cold air? I'd say no, correct?
Sorry, what was that?
Is there any possibility that hot air could be below the cold air? I'd say no.
I would say no.
No, sorry, yes, I mean, sorry. The higher you go, the bloody colder it gets, no?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So is it possible for cold air to be beneath hot air?
Yeah.
It is?
Yes.
Bugger, because that gives you now two options. Obviously, you don't know if there was only one, you could say, well look, it's only possible for cold air to be above hot air, so look, the light's bending this way, so look, it's only one way, but if hot air can be above the cold air, then you can't determine. You can't determine.
Well, in this instance, I know that it's the cold air affecting the light because it passed over, like I said, a large body of water that was close to freezing, or was below freezing, but wasn't because of the movement of the water.
Really?
Which stopped it freezing.
Is this proving that the Earth is concave or convex?
I would say convex.
When you zoom in with the telescope or the camera, you can see the object appear again, correct?
Yeah.
Are you looking at the mirage or are you looking at the object itself?
You're looking at the mirage.
No, but I would say you wouldn't. You weren't. I mean, I could be wrong about that. When they zoom in again, you can see it's a direct line, isn't it? I mean, what we're seeing isn't a direct line, really, is it?
No, it's a refraction of light off the object itself.
Really, and it's curving, around, so it would suggest a ball.
Yeah.
And so flat earthers, when they make these videos, zooming out to the sea and saying, look, there's a boat that just disappeared. What you're saying is they're pointing at a mirage. They're not actually pointing at the object. The object has genuinely disappeared behind the horizon.
Yeah.
I mean, at what point does the boat actually become, not what you're seeing? Because, you could say, well, there's a boat. It's right in front of me, definitely right in front of me, still right in front of me. You can say, okay, it's still there, right in the distance. I can still see it. It's right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that moment when it disappears from your eyesight, as humans, we only can see so far.
Right.
So, when the boat disappears behind behind our line of sight. Isn't that when the boat disappears as opposed to going over the horizon?
I would suppose you're correct.
I mean, it's scarier, really, when you think about it, you know?
Yeah. Well, if anybody else has something they want to say,
Yeah, please join in.
please do so. I'm more than ill-equipped to have this conversation.
So you believe that the Earth's a ball, correct?
Yeah.
What's your main proof of that?
My main proof of that, mostly I have no reason to doubt that we haven't been on space, or
Really?
that there aren't satellites circling the Earth. Typically, I would be very skeptical about something, but in this instance, maybe it is an indoctrination thing, but in this instance, a globe, to me, makes more sense than any other...
Yes, I know what you're saying there, but I mean, on the other point there that you made, you sound terribly naive.
Yeah.
Terribly naive. Only because the source of the information is a bloody government agency, which says they're not a government agency. I mean, I can't trust liars. There's no public space service, and they did this thing recently. Have you seen this? The other space agency. What's the name?
No, I have no idea.
There's another space agency claiming to be, and, surely there's enough rich people on this earth to create their own bloody rocket.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, all the rich people like Richard Branson, he was supposedly making this bloody space plane.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that fell flat on its bloody face, didn't it? Where the fuck is that? Didn't see it.
But there are also people that have had great success in that department, like Elon Musk.
Who?
Elon Musk?
He what? What did he do?
Elon Musk has sent dozens of probes into space and has worked a lot with NASA and on independent projects.
Really? Listen, now that you mention about sending rockets into space, the Nazis, I think it was the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
Is it called the Tesla V2 rocket or something?
I'm not sure.
I was looking at it only today, and I saw this, they did a screen still, and it showed the flat Earth. This is 1940. So this gentleman you named, what did his research prove?
I don't fucking know, man.
He sent up rockets, correct?
Let me see. 39 just said he was funded by NASA. I'm sure there's some validity to that statement.
Yes, it's very rare that you get somebody independent these days, and when you do, they get murdered or they get bought out. Like that gentleman that created his own engine from magnets, powered his own house, in Australia.
Yeah,
Well,
I know.
they bought him for millions, billions. He would have destroyed industries. Marijuana was set to replace the paper industry in the 1800s, the late 1800s. The newspapers ran a smear campaign against marijuana, so that hemp, which is marijuana.
Right.
You could be using hemp as paper. You don't have to be cutting down all those bloody trees. But they like problems. They want problems, so that they can that's their own motives, their own laws.
Right.
You can create a more refined oil than crude oil from marijuana. There's two types of strains of marijuana that can cure cancer.
Right.
You don't think they knew this bloody 30, 40 years ago? They bloody knew it. They knew it now. They know about bloody things. They're withholding everything. They're withholding space as well, Maybe they're giving us fake images of space, so that
But what I want to understand, though, and you would know better about this. As I said, I'm new to the flat Earth thing. What would be the purpose of making people think that the Earth was a globe as opposed to flat?
Well,
I mean, what possibly could their end game?
I have a background knowledge on this, and flat Earth was like the last thing I've come to, and I'm excited about it. But there seems to be a very, very strong, motive to mislead the public. Are you aware of esoteric and exoteric?
No, I'm sorry.
Well, the esoteric knowledge is those for the inner, those for the inside, the insiders, not LSC's blood insiders. For those on the inside, we get the esoteric knowledge, and the exoteric is given for those on the outside. Religions have this. Religions have this doctrine in which, they have their own meanings for things.
Right.
So, this applies to everything, with the Freemasons, they love to withhold information or mislead you. They see it as a game, I mean, there's a certain element of mysticism to it, but really it's about control.
Right.
And knowledge really being power, Can you understand that or believe it?
Yeah, no, I can understand that.
I mean, there's books out there of their own literature where they say, we're going to mislead the what do they refer to us as? You know, the uninitiated, the profane.
Ah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And they have such a vast grip, you know, on society.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult, though, from somebody who's on the fence, you know, who has heard good points from both sides, both flat Earth, globe Earth.
I mean, there's 3 sides now. It's bloody cell Earth, you know?
Cell Earth, yeah. It makes you wonder, though, who to trust, because it doesn't come down to, or at a certain point, it's not about which evidence makes the most sense, because
that's what it should be about, shouldn't it?
They both make sense, yeah, but you have to trust your sources, and then it comes down to which source do you trust, you know? And it's, again, no offense to flat earthers, but there have been flat earthers who have a tendency to be a bit deluded, you know? And I'm not trying to make a generalization, but in the same sense, there are politicians who have and will in the future, I'm sure, twist information for their own game.
Yes, I mean, look at the bloody idiot, Lord Stephen. He said that the Earth was concave based on the rectilineator experiment. And they bloody reconducted the rectilineator experiment, and you know, bloody said everything they did was bloody false. So, you know, well, what the bloody hell? Why are you still believing that shit? If you're saying that they bloody falsified the information, you know, he's based all his bloody thing on that. Say rectilineator. He reconducted it and couldn't do it. Failed. And he said that they bloody lied.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
People base their opinions on fallacies. People basing their opinion of Earth, you know, saying that the Earth is round because they've seen the pictures from NASA, you know? That's not bloody proof.
Yeah, well, I mean, neither is somebody on YouTube claiming that they've, you know, discovered some hidden truth.
No, but it is genuinely, you know, they genuinely do, you know, they reshape clouds, they copy and paste, they bloody, you know, you can see it for yourself on these montages. Well, of course, it's self-admitted. NASA did admit to themselves that the pictures of these perfect circles were all montages, because in theory, what I think is that they can't go high enough, you know, maybe? And then what they've done is just use pictures of satellites and then put them all together, because, you know, why not just bloody get a picture of Earth from bloody space, you know?
Yeah.
It's that bloody hard. There should be thousands, there should be a 24-hour streaming of Earth, you know, spinning around. You should be able to watch the Earth from space. I mean, do you not think we should have that now in this day and age? You think it's asking too much just to say, hey, can you put a camera in space and just film it at Earth?
Right.
Hubble telescope, you know, Hubble is supposed to be a bloody plane. Hubble's not even existing anymore. Hubble's a bloody plane. Look into that.
Yeah.
They're giving us a false image of Earth. And people for years have just believed that is exactly how the Earth looks. I mean, the Mercator, for example. The Mercator map. It goes off, you know, population size. Land mass is ordered by population, which is completely wrong, you know. South America is bloody small. In South Africa is bloody small. In Europe's huge. South Africa should be elongated. I mean, you know, they say that the Earth is bloody fatter in the middle. You heard that?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Do you believe that?
I don't know. Fuck. Fanny, you fucked me. God damn it.
It's very tricky.
It is. And for me, it really does come down to a matter of trust.
Yes.
In my government or in other flat earthers.
Yes.
It's tricky. Really fucking tricky.
I mean, you know, I don't know where to go with it, really.
Neither do I. In fact, I'm surprised you carried it this far along.
Oh, no, I had all night.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it, you know. It'd be good if we could get there.
I honestly can say that I think I'm beat, because I don't have any arguments to make, and I can't put them together as concise.
Know, the elite, they love to put the bloody ball everywhere. They put the ball in their houses. They put the ball...
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
They put the ball everywhere.
Yeah.
They got the ball there as symbolism. They're saying, look, you know, we control the world domination. No?
No, I'm.
Is that part of fooling everybody? You know, because I would rather say that's, you know, they know it's a bloody ball and they're like, look, we know it's a ball and here it's a bloody ball and we control the world. The ball.
You know, the thing is though, is why would, you know, I know you said it's control, but why would they have kept up a government conspiracy for, you know, 16 years or so?
I mean, you know, it's compartmentalized. I wouldn't say it's per se the government. You know, you can't just say it's the government. It's a faction. It's always a faction in the government. And of course, you know, for example, all of the Nazi scientists, you know, the rocket scientist, Project Paperclip. Hello?
Yeah. I hear you. I'm listening.
Project Paperclip. You know, all of the major Nazis, they were taken to America by the Freemasons. You know, the Knights Templar, the Roman, you know, element.
Right.
And those are the pioneers of the time. They had far advanced technology. The Nazis had far advanced technology. The Nazis had UFOs. Have you seen the UFOs?
Yes.
Magnetism. They're bloody powered by magnetism. So America took all of those scientists and then, so you can see how right at the top there, they're all corrupt. So it's information, those that work for the government on a lower level don't actually get to hear or know about the ongoing things right at the top. So, and it's something that isn't, brandished, it isn't publicized. And when they put symbols in things, it's just like, how can I explain it? It's a way of deceiving people. I mean, for example, making people do certain hand signs and putting them in public, they've got their own meanings for this, and they're the ones, putting it out there. John Cena, the 666.
Yeah.
And they give new meanings for these, and this is right there in their own literature.
Well, I mean, that depends, though. Like, what are you actually basing this on? Are you basing this on
Masonic hand signs? Masonic signs that existed before the public knew about them, before the public were using them. They'll say, oh no, it's a bloody okay sign.
I will admit that it would be very unlikely that there wasn't some government sect kept hidden from public eye. To claim that there isn't would be naive, and I can admit that. But if there really is, a culture or an organization that's so secret and powerful that they could appear all over the world, why wouldn't there be more signs? Like, why wouldn't the everyday person be able to see that? And
I mean, it comes with knowledge and researching it. If you're in the know, knowledge is power. If you know about something, then you can identify it. If you don't know about it, then you won't remember how to identify it. I mean, there's proof out there. I mean, listen, all of the presidents, all of your presidents there, they're all related to each other, except one, Martin Van Buren. It's family. It's bloodline here. Also, they've all been Freemasons. Don't you think that's a conflict of interest?
that depends on if you believe it or not.
No. There's bloody proof. Of course, the founding fathers were all almost Masons. Look at Google, Obama and the seal. Obama and the seal. He's placing the seal on the wall, and he's got a Masonic ring on. They're all bloody Masons. They're all bloody Masons. So you can't say the president is the one in the highest power, in a position of power. Of course, he's being controlled. Of course, he's told what to say. It's like the media. It's like the people reading the news are not giving their own opinion or their own. They're told what to bloody say. And a good example of that is the Solomon building on 9/11 was still in the background. It was still standing, and the reporter, the BBC reporter, she was saying that the Solomon building had just fallen, and it's still standing behind her. This is proof, absolute proof, that the media is scripted, and they've been told what to say before, and look, even before it happened, she's bloody scripting it, she's bloody saying what the bloody script say, and there's been all kinds of, they've tried to, how can I say, they've tried to smear that, they've tried to create arguments which aren't there in order to make people who are questioning it look crazy, but the only thing we're questioning is the fact that she's actually spoken about it before it's happened. That she's, it's scripted. That's what the bloody point is. It's bloody scripted.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. But at the same time, something to that extent, I've got to be skeptical about. It's in human nature for our brains to look for patterns and signs. And there can only be so many symbols that go out there that are original. I mean, eventually you're going to have duplicates. And I'm not saying that it's purely coincidence. Maybe it was inspiration. But to just outright accept that there's irrefutable proof of a secret organization consisting of the world's elites, from entertainers to politicians, seems, and I don't mean to offend, it seems crazy.
No, accepting irrefutable proof is crazy?
No, claiming that something is irrefutable. What?
What did I just say that's irrefutable? I mean, if a man is wearing a Masonic ring,
then he might be a member
more likely to be a Freemason than not, especially if he's a bloody president.
The Freemasons are an order that operate out in the open. There's a Messianic temple where I live. Exoterically. And they have their own esoteric doctrine. For example, the great architect, he's referred to in the books as the great architect. So the uninitiated don't know who he really is. And then when you get to a certain stage in Freemasonry, you learn that the god is Lucifer. That's the real god of Freemasonry, is Lucifer. That's speculation, though. I mean...
No, it's not. there's a video on YouTube where a Shriner,
I've seen it.
you've seen it, where a Shriner, he's saying, you know, Lucifer, and they use charity. They use charity as a way of, you know.
Yeah, but how can you know that his statement is valid? How can you know that what he's saying is truth?
Well, you know, just from the way that he's talking, I mean, you know, he's very serious about it. He's saying, you know, Lucifer's this and Lucifer's that.
There are very good actors out there too.
Yes, I do know that, but you know, this man actually is in a Masonic lodge. He walks back into the Masonic lodge. He's a Mason.
I mean, if you think about it sensibly, though, which makes more sense, that there's a secret organization that's devoted to serving Lucifer, or the fact that it's all coincidence and these are false testimonies. False testimonies are rampant.
No,
in
but they
modern society.
really believe he's a light. They really genuinely believe he's a light, and what they've been taught is what they believe.
According to how many people, though? Who else can validate his statement?
All of the texts, all of the books, Masonic books. I mean, you know, Lucifer being the light.
Well, how do you know that those are still representative of the Messianic order today?
Because these are esoteric doctrines written for the inner by 33rd degree Freemasons. Albert Pike, for example.
There are organizations and groups of people who have all had ties to some pretty terrible things at some point in time, but that doesn't mean that they still represent what they represented hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, but there's Masonic link all the way through history.
All the way through history. The all-seeing eye is an extremely powerful piece of iconography. It's a watchful eye, and it's a symbol for Big Brother, you know. And I agree that, you know,
Well, I mean,
I will accept that, you know, quote-unquote Big Brother is a thing, you know, government monitoring and everything. But I don't think it's meant to be some sort of hint. I mean, if it was...
You're taking it too literally.
I don't think you're taking it literally enough. That's my point, though, is why would they just leave iconography and puzzle pieces laying about for people to piece together
Because
and then go out and
these
preach
things
them?
have spiritual, to them, not to me or anybody else, you know. To them, it has spiritual significance. For example, when they build their obelisks, they build it at 666 feet in length. Numerology, you know. There's certain dates where they do rituals, you know. It's all, to them, very significant. And, you know, ley lines, for another example. On ley lines, you have all these Masonic, you know, monuments and architecture. Very significant. Look into ley line.
It's...
All of the royal hospitals in England are all on ley line. All the royal ones.
Like I said, how do you know that this is, you know, like a religious iconography, though? You know, how do you know it's not just
because if you look into ley lines, ancient ley lines, these have existed from supposedly, you know, the dawn of man. Well, not the dawn of man.
Supposedly is the key word, though.
Sorry?
Supposedly is the key word, though.
No, I got it wrong what I said. You know, we don't know where man came from, do we? Are we an experiment, or are we bloody... Are we made from God?
Well, see, that's a big debate.
Or are we nature? I mean, you know, you go with the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the origin of the universe and the evolution of biological life are two mutually exclusive things.
Yeah, but they'll tell you that you evolved from a monkey.
No, I didn't evolve from a monkey. I evolved from an ape.
But the scientists will tell you that. They'll say you evolved from a monkey.
And that's perfectly fine. Maybe I was. Or maybe my ancestors were millions of years ago. The thing is that and what you're saying, this conspiracy is on the fringe. It's not, I said it earlier, it is he who makes the extraordinary claim has the burden of proof, not the burden of...
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Why aren't the scientists proving it? They're just saying it's just a bloody theory. Everything's a theory. They can't prove it, you know? They just try and falsify it.
Theory is the highest level.
Liar. It's hypothesis. That's the bloody highest, because an hypothesis is an actual thing that's bloody real. You can say, well, that's an actuality.
No, a hypothesis is your starting point.
No. A theory only goes so far. A theory, you can say, well, maybe this happened, or maybe that happened, or it's...
No, you've got them mixed up. You start with a hypothesis. You test your hypothesis. You collect your data, and then your findings, whether they support or disprove your hypothesis, will become a theory. Many scientists will tell you that. All of the reputable ones, at least. It's the ones...
For me, a hypothesis is where you can, you know...
If you
put
say...
the bones together and make a skeleton and say, look, this is, you know... Rather than a theory, where it's just like more, you know, out in the air.
A hypothesis
goes on one line, a definite thing. The hypothesis could be something that's just one thing, you know? With a theory, it could be this or it could be that.
No, it's the opposite. The theory means something completely different than what we use in our everyday vernacular. vernacular. Theory in day-to-day life, well, you say, oh, I have a theory that my shoes are underneath the couch. If you were a scientist performing an experiment, you would say, I hypothesize that my shoes are under the couch. And your experiment would be to check underneath the couch. Your result would be that your shoes were under the couch or weren't under the couch. Therefore, your theory would depend on your data. So if you said, I hypothesize my shoes are under the couch, and you look under the couch and your shoes are there, then the hypothesis becomes a theory because it has been proven through experimentation.
But
collection of data.
I mean, with a hypothesis, you can actually prove it, you know?
Yeah, well, a theory is just a proven hypothesis. It's a hypothesis.
Are you schooling me right now? Are you schooling me right now?
Maybe, I don't know.
I sound more clever than you.
You do, you do. You sound very sharp.
I'm supposed to know bloody everything sounding like this. I mean, let me read this here. A hypothesis, plural, hypothesis, is a proposed explanation for a phenomenon. For a hypothesis to be a scientific hypothesis, the scientific method requires that one can test it. Scientists generally base scientific hypotheses on previous observations that cannot satisfactorily be explained with the available scientific theories. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
I do.
The scientific theories that cannot satisfactorily be explained with the available scientific theories. It's more than a theory.
A hypothesis is made off of, or comes from, things that you've observed. You're making an inference about the result of something, but it's not a valid inference about the outcome of something until you've gone through the process of experimentation many times and the collection of data to either prove or disprove whether your inference was correct. Now, the data makes that a theory. As I said before with the shoe, if you hypothesize that your shoe's under the couch, you experiment and check for it, the shoe's under the couch. That means your hypothesis has been now backed up by data and has become a theory for which other hypotheses will be based upon. The end game is to make your hypothesis a theory. A hypothesis can be based on a theory, but it is not the end game. The end game is a theory which has been backed up through the scientific method.
Wait, I mean, is he right, guys? You know, people in the chat here. I'm just looking at the chat here. He must be right, yes? What he's saying is right, yeah? You sound right.
I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
But you sound so bloody sure.
Well, yeah, of course.
So you must be right then.
I can't say that for sure.
What did you say?
The things that I've stated are backed up by evidence that I've collected. This is the same point that I made earlier.
I had it the other way around. I mean, you know, I thought a theory could only go so far. You know, so
a theory can only go so far.
And a hypothesis actually says, you know, well, look, these, you know, it's more than that. It's more than a theory. Never mind. I've obviously got it wrong.
A hypothesis is like artificial insemination. Then through trials and tribulations, it's born and becomes a theory, for which many more hypotheses will be derived from.
Okay.
So it's more like a family tree than it is a straight line. One hypothesis begets a theory. It's more like a family tree than it is a straight line. One hypothesis begets a theory. That theory begets multiple hypotheses, and those hypotheses then beget more theory.
Okay. So when you say I theorize, and when you say I hypothesize, what's the difference?
When you say I hypothesize, you're making an informed assumption. You're making a guess. You're making a prediction what the data is going to reflect.
So which is more accurate? Which would you say is more accurate, a theory or a hypothesis?
A theory, definitely, because a theory is.
What you just said there, I would go with hypothesis. What you just said there, I would have gone with hypothesis. I would have said that's more.
See, the thing is that a hypothesis itself has not been backed up by data. It's an inference that you've made based on data that has previously come. Like, think about your everyday life. When you have a thought, you're making a guess as to where your thing is. Maybe I left my keys in the car because that's something you've done before. That's That's an informed hypothesis.
There's people here saying I'm right. I mean, okay. There's somebody here, Callie, Luna. She says hypothesis is equals best guess. Theory equals reason why it's your best guess.
No.
No. Callie says no. And so does 444. He says no.
Hypothesis and reason, or best guess and reason why it's your best guess are part of the hypothesis.
Okay.
The theory is your best guess and why it's your best guess, then proven or disproven by the data that you've collected through experimentation.
Okay.
The theory is the hypothesis proven.
Okay. Thank you for schooling me. You know, they say you learn something new every day.
I learned some new things about flat Earth.
What did you learn recently?
Well, that it's really mostly subjective. You know, it depends a lot on the person who's hearing the information. Also, there are a lot of damn good arguments for the opposite opposition.
When you say opposition, who do you mean?
Flat Earth. I was supposed to take the stance of globe Earth theorist, but rather than, proclaiming my stance, I learned a lot more about the opposition because of a lack of experience.
Well, when I looked into 9/11, I did it, neutrally. And I looked at both sides. And you try to look at the side which glorifies the official line, and, you come to a dead end, Is it the NTSB? They've got no official flight records for, the flights that flew on 9/11. This is just the bloody same as on 7/7 over here in England, London. They, used 3 trains and a bus. And MI5 were actually carrying out a drill on their day, which were including the same things that blew up, They had exactly 3 trains and a bus in the drill. And this is all on record.
The things that you're saying.
This is all on record by the MI5. The head of MI5, he's given an interview. It's on YouTube. MI5, head of MI5, admit 7/7, there was a drill on 7/7. Every bloody time. On 9/11, there's a bloody drill. 3,000 pilots were shifted up to Canada so that, these planes could be bloody flying around. It's unprecedented. An hour and 15 minutes of a plane just flying around without a fighter jet alongside it. I mean, what the fuck? There's a drill, there's a drill on all these events, Yeah, so I was going to say, there was a train that didn't even run on 7/7, and it's still used in the official line. And if you go to London, trains, London Underground, you can see that it's cancelled. One of the trains that was supposedly blew up on 7/7 didn't even travel. It didn't even, and that was the guy that got shot outside Canary Wharf. He fled. He realised what was going on. He was a British Muslim. They were all British Muslims, and they were sent down to London on an anti-terrorism.
I have heard many conspiracy theories, and a lot of them are extremely well crafted, and a lot of them do have basis in reality.
You're looking at it the wrong way. They're not. People aren't crafting these. Well, what they're doing is, of course, they're gathering information. It's not like they're,
they are
building it up from imagination or something.
This information, and then they are producing their own conclusion. These are not complete conclusions that could be verified by the source.
Well, I wouldn't mind it if you used, the term coincidence here, because, you could say, oh, it's a bloody coincidence, because that's a favorite of everybody that tries to dismiss, They say, oh, it's a bloody coincidence.
I won't say it's a coincidence.
But it bloody well could be, But what are the chances? What are the chances that whenever we're doing a bloody...
The chances are very slim, but all it takes is one well-informed individual to get their hands on this kind of information and craft something miraculous out of it. I don't know if you've ever seen the documentary regarding Paul McCartney's death. It's a conspiracy documentary on Netflix, and it is amazingly crafted. It is mind-blowingly well crafted.
This is exactly. I mean, for me, okay. What you're saying there is exactly the same thing as this. This information documentary that was made by Kubrick and on all of those, wasn't it? But anyway, Donald Rumsfeld, he was in the video, and he's saying, yeah, we filmed it on a studio, and it's like for 58 minutes, they're telling you that the moon landing was a fake, and you have all these government, people from the time saying, yes, blah blah blah, we did this, we did that, fooled people, da 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 da. And 58 minutes into the bloody show, they say, they attack you. They're like, you believe us? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have.
Well, that's the same thing as what you were talking about, where they create a fallacy, and then they say, he's like, Alex Jones,
okay.
when he spoke to Aaron Rousseau, Aaron Rousseau.
No, I'm not sure who that is.
Aaron
He's the guy that did Mad as Hell.
He was a filmmaker. He made a film with Alex Jones in it.
Okay.
Anyway, he was talking about Nick Rockefeller. He said that he knew Nick Rockefeller, and he was talking to Nick Rockefeller one day, and Nick Rockefeller was boasting about how they were going to put chips in everybody, and they're going to control the population with microchips, and all currency would be on these chips, and if they wanted money from you, they would simply deduct it from your chip, and you wouldn't be able to escape the system, basically.
Right.
But this Nick Rockefeller, the picture that he was using, he's saying this gentleman's Nick Rockefeller, and it shows a picture of him with this gentleman. Now, myself and other researchers included have, we've dug into the Rothschild family tree, and nowhere on there is a Nicholas Rockefeller.
Yeah, I will also say, though, it's people who are passionate passionate about this kind of thing and would even say that it's a hobby of theirs to know about conspiracies. When they're going into it, they're not looking at it objectively. Even if it's only a subconscious thing where they're not thinking about it.
I know what you're saying. This comes from the media, really. I mean, you can get hooked. You can get hooked. It can become a hobby. You can be trapped.
It can become a hobby. Can I say something real quick?
Yes, go.
Okay, so would you say that it's like a hobby to find out things like that are real, or like it's a hobby to just kind of look for those things that are like kind of trippy? Because, well, which one do you think you're?
For me, it was quite a shock to learn that we'd been lied to about 9/11. And it was like, well, what else have we been lied to? Was my sort of, and I'm looking at other things, and then you sort of get dragged into the control opposition slightly. You get dragged into the zeitgeist.
Yeah, I definitely went straight for Alex Jones. Like that's like the clickbait that.
Me too.
Like, hey, it's not me.
Yes.
So would you say, like, I'm Jami with this. You're aware of like the fact that our money used to be backed by gold. Now it's not, and it's
redeemable for gold, real gold. Did you know that your money used to be, had hemp on it? Did you know that the dollar bill used to have a hemp? You could actually.
Yeah.
I think it still may. I'm not sure, but even if it was hemp, I mean, yeah, that's got some intrinsic value, I guess. But
yeah, it used to be mandatory to farm it. It used to be mandatory. You used to have to farm it in America.
Correct.
Mandatory.
Yeah. So I mean, it's only worth the paper that it's printed on and the ink that's used to print on it.
Correct. Yes. Monopoly money.
So the point that I'm trying to make, I guess, is that that's real. Like they're charging you interest on money that actually doesn't exist.
Oh, correct.
It's only in the form of paper.
Yes,
and that, could be considered a conspiracy. It wasn't illegal. It was brought about by perfectly legal means. So technically, it wasn't a conspiracy. Does that make sense?
I'll be right back.
What I'm trying to say here, Zeitgeist, for example, these disinformation programs and also documentaries and also disinformationists themselves, they give 90% truth. It's just a rough estimate, but they give about 90% truth and about 10% lies. And the 10% lie is something quite significant, or where they're trying to lead you with it.
It's a really attractive red herring.
Yes, exactly. Zeitgeist. Okay, so the first part of it talks about money and talks about the Federal Reserve and talks about it's the same. It's exactly the same in England. There's a thing called the Bradbury pound. You heard of the Bradbury pound?
I haven't.
The Bradbury pound, that's a type of currency that they could use, which is interest-free. It's interest-free, but no, they keep using the Bank of England, the pound coin. The sterling. The sterling is taxed just like the dollar. Anyway, Zeitgeist. Okay, so it tells you about the money system. Then it tells you about religion. I don't know if I believe all that. Based on the stars. For example, the three stars of Orion. They say that there are three kings, and they point down to Bethlehem on the 25th, and they got the story from the sky.
Yeah.
And then, I forgot the third part of Zeitgeist. I can't really remember what it goes into after that, but it does actually.
I'm with you. It kind of like brings in that sort of like a socialist utopia, and then it's the red herring associated with it is the like all astrology is really
right there. And then also that is a new age.
Yeah.
I've heard the maker of Zeitgeist. He's called Jax. I don't know his second name.
Jack's on, Jack's off?
Yes.
Okay.
He actually said, this is him talking about the 9/11 attacks. He says, we must have done something terrible to deserve that. And as he's doing that, he's making a sign with his hand. He's doing a plane. He's like, we must have done something terrible to deserve that. Well, we must have done something terrible. So his view on 9/11, he's made this very truthful video about the monetary system, about religion, supposedly, and yet he doesn't want to admit anything about 9/11. He actually says, they deserved it. America deserved it. They must have done something terrible to deserve that.
Exactly. Yeah, it was the consumer that caused that. Like you consumers are like you're not doing enough.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, what is that comedian called? Who's very harsh. What's his name?
Russell Brand?
No. Jack Collins. No, harsher than that. He's shouting at you. He's almost telling you slaves. Blah 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 blah. People are like,
Oh, you're talking about George Carlin.
Carlin. Yes, that's him. He's control opposition. People say, oh, he's great. No, he's not.
No, he's just far left, like propaganda. Like
yes, he's laughing, with them at you.
Yes. So I mean, it's just not a hobby. I mean, like that's the point I guess that I was trying to make is that to me, it's just not a hobby to find out that like the money that I use has no value. It's only the value that's like.
It's what the media try and stereotype. They try and say, oh, only lonely people.
Hold on.
Look for conspiracies. Good, sorry.
Why does our money have to be representative, or why does it have to be backed up by gold. At this point,
wouldn't.
Money could represent simply the work that you've done.
Like a perceived value. And I totally get you. That's the whole concept of currency. It's like electricity. It's like it's power. It's like stored power.
There was
and
the American
this
Civil
is the
War.
issue, though.
There was the American Civil War.
Sorry, go ahead, man.
There was the American Civil War, and the banking system was given to the people as a means to an end. They said, here, look, we've got money, and money, it's exchangeable for gold, so it's not like this is something that's a lie. We're going to give you peace. We're going to give you a system of monetary system, People liked it, and then slowly it's been corrupted again. I mean, those in charge of it anyway were corrupt, but...
I agree. Let me address this real quick, because there's an issue here where I totally agree with you, Jamie, that a fiat currency wouldn't be a problem if it weren't for the fact that we're charged interest on it. So we actually have to pay for the service of allowing us to use paper notes. So we're basically renting this money.
Whilst
Does that make sense?
They get out for nothing.
Yeah, and it becomes worth less over time. So it's just a bad deal. Like that's what I'm trying to say. It may not be a conspiracy, but America Online, was that a conspiracy where they're selling you hours on your internet, or is it a conspiracy that cell phone companies charge you for data, where they charge you per minute on your cell phone when maybe it doesn't affect them? It's really just a matter of whether it's a good deal or not. And the globe is not a good fucking deal. The money is not a good fucking deal. And they teach us in school that these are fucking great deals.
Yeah. Somebody said to me recently, sorry, carry on. I bloody lost it now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get that point across where it's like, could they get away with it? Could they get away with us, like, teaching us that we're on a ball when we're not? Yeah, I think they could, because they fucking convinced us to give up our money.
Well, they already have convinced us.
Yes.
Honestly. I mean, the new debit cards or credit cards, they've got the fucking chips in them.
Yes, correct.
Why do I need a chip in my credit card as opposed to just fucking...
Why do you need a chip in your bloody dog? I mean, they give you all very good reasons. They say to you, well, imagine if your dog got lost, yeah? They say, well, we can track it down for you, no problem, They give you a bone, they say, there's a bone, the carrot and the stick, whatever. They give you really good reasons. They say to you, they give you all kinds of really good reasons why you should have a chip in your body, But the real problem with that,
argument.
I mean, if they inserted it, there's actually a logo out there where there's one of these chips being implanted into a baby's head. That's a logo. I'll find it for you later. But actually, if you put a chip next to the brain, you can influence the brain with electromagnetic waves, because of course the brain works on electro waves, tiny little electromagnetic waves.
You'd have to have a power source in order to do that. So like this thing would have to like.
Of course, but the power source is somewhere else. The power source is controlled by these people. If you can have access to these chips, which they've got, you can influence certain parts of the brain. For example, what's it called?
What do you think selective advertisement in smartphones are? They've got us so worried about losing our privacy to chips that we implant our body when we voluntarily carry around monetarization systems in our fucking pockets with our credentials, with all of our money.
It's slightly different when you're putting it inside your body, They can't, I mean, sure you can access...
like slightly different, but I mean, like, when you look at it from moving from one generation to the next, if it's totally normal for you, Jamie, like to be a parent who uses a card with a chip in it for currency, it may seem like an upgrade to get it just in your hand to where you don't have to worry about losing it, or like they've got these fobs now for your keys. Like eventually you'll be able to start your car just by getting into it because your car knows you.
Oh, they've already got that. But in order to do that, you have to voluntarily carry around the chip that you're talking about getting implanted inside of it.
It's a chain. You're
voluntarily carrying around out of necessity. You're voluntarily carrying out of necessity. If you didn't voluntarily carry out, you wouldn't have money. You wouldn't be able to go to the cash machine. They make it. It's all out of necessity. If you
have to use debit or like a bank account in order to pay most bills, and there are ways around it now. But I mean,
for example, you could go and draw all the cash out, then you wouldn't be getting tracked or whatever. If you go and draw all the cash out there, you would only have to make one visit with the card, and then you just use cash everywhere you go. That's one way.
That's what I do. I just put whatever I need to use to pay bills on my card.
I mean, I've escaped the system so much that I haven't even got a bloody identification card. Any sort of ID. I haven't got it. I haven't got a passport. I haven't got an ID card. I haven't got anything. And when I got stopped by the police, they say, well, you must have some identification on you. I said, no, I haven't got anything.
That's a big sacrifice, but it can be worth it.
Not really. I mean, I have everything I need. I have a job. I have a house. I have a car. I have everything I need. Well, not a car anymore, but he used to have a car, but I don't have a car anymore. I don't need one. But I've got everything I need, you know?
Yeah, I'm pretty close to being right there with you, man. My friggin' ID expired in November of last year, and I just don't feel like going in. It doesn't seem like perishable, you know?
The BBC aren't even allowed on my property, you know? I give them an implied rights of access, you know? They can't even come near my house. I don't pay for a TV license. I have a TV. I have Sky. I have a satellite dish outside my house. Sky actually inform the BBC about you know, if they're watching TV or not. About every 6 months they get a visit, you know, from a couple of inspectors, and I actually give them an invoice. And there's been one time where I've actually received money back. I've invoiced them for wasting my time. I say, for every hour that you're here, I'm going to charge you £50.
For what reason would they come to you? Are they actually coming to you and saying, hey, you're not watching TV?
Well, they claim that they've got, you know, a device which can, you know, but that's bullshit. All they've got, I mean, they say that they can, you know, they claim that they can legally spy on you. They say, oh, we know you're watching TV because we've got a signal here.
Oh, so you're like jacking cable?
Well, not really.
Not really. Okay. Well, that's a totally different thing. But like,
yeah, sorry.
Man,
I don't know.
There's something called a cell site simulator, and basically the United States government is allowed to take the radio signal that comes out of your cell phone and access it before it gets to an actual cell phone tower using something that's called a cell site simulator. So, you know, if what you're doing is simply receiving transmissions through the air without permission, I don't think that you're doing anything wrong, because the government's doing that to us. They're taking our cell phone signal and spying on us, you know, for lack of a better term, but they're doing it simply because of the fact that, hey, your cell signal is already in the air. That makes it free. Anybody who's able to receive that signal is able to use it.
Yes.
So, I mean...
I mean, when these guys come around, they say to you, have you got a television? Now, you know, the law states, you know, you can have a television. You don't have to pay anybody to have a television. What they should be asking you is, are you watching live TV? Because that's what they want to charge you for. They say, you know, if you're watching live TV, then you are to pay them a license. And it's a statute. And the statute clearly states that, you know, they must have your consent. They must. It's not a law. And the police, I've had the police rounds. You know, I said to them, this is nothing to do with you. All you're here to do is keep the peace. This is, you know, this isn't a civil matter. This is a corporate matter. Statutory law. Do you agree?
All right, I'm getting fucking blown up with text messages. But, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, like, what's the right that they have to even ask you if you're watching or not watching? Is BBC part of the government? Because, like, these are things that, like, really, I can be honest with you and say, like, I've never had that happen. I have used, like, a black box before for cable, and they came and just turned it off. Like, they fucking knew. But that wasn't satellite. Satellite's totally different in my mind, because, you know, if I'm jacking into a hard cable in order to watch TV, that's different than me just simply putting a dish out and receiving. That's like a solar panel. That's like someone coming to you and saying, hey, we own the fucking sun. So, you know, basically, if you have a solar panel, you owe me money. That's the same thing as, you know, someone saying, hey, you can't receive my satellite broadcast without paying to me.
Now, I must state that, you know, BBC, they only got 2 channels on terrestrial TV. You know, Sky's something completely different. But there are BBC channels on Sky. There's an obligation by anybody that sells you a TV over here to pass your information on to the BBC. And yes, by the way, they are government run to a certain extent. I think it was around 1999. The BBC were threatened by the government. You know, they told them, we're going to make you an advertisement channel just like all the others. You're not going to be publicly funded. You're going to become just like all the other channels. And so they really, from that point on, I can remember how they've changed completely. And they're so pro-government. They're so pro-politics. They're so pro the EU, you know, and they do such a great job. You know, they're so pro-Masons as well, you know. They're very Masonic. BBC are very Masonic.
Doesn't it mean like 322 or 666 or some shit? BBC, like in gematria? I know in numerology.
I don't know about that one. That's a good one. I don't know. BBC, I don't know. What is it? I don't know.
Can you do Jamaican?
What do you mean? Do Jamaican?
Can you do a Jamaican accent?
Not really. I'm not so good at accents, you know. I mean, I don't know where we were before. We were talking about something, you know, and we've gone off somewhere else.
Doing cable and receiving transmissions and, you know, Federal Reserve not being a good deal, the Globe not being.
Yeah, the hobby, about, you know, I was saying this is a stereotype of the media. They say, you know, only crazy people and only lonely people subscribe to, you know, theories. wild. You know, this comes from the media. I've seen it so many times on Fox, on CNN, you know, all the news channels. They really want you to stay away from YouTube. Very scared.
I disagree to a certain extent with monitoring, with a body of government monitoring its systems, but at the same time, I feel like to an extent it is for a good cause, you know, like, and I don't know all the methods that they use.
Who's
you know,
they?
like,
Who's they?
The government, just in general. The
But
government.
they're always going to tell you it's for your own good, always.
Yeah.
And of course, for a government to be successful, they would have to be doing some good things. They wouldn't just, you know, they would become a dictatorship. I mean, it's much, much easier to control people when they really genuinely believe that they're, you know, free, rather than oppression. You know,
These days, I think electronic monitoring just kind of comes with the territory. You know, before, you know, there were things
you don't think it's a bit Orwellian and a bit, you know, over excessive?
No, not at all.
I mean, okay, so just the pure concept of that alone, okay, no evil associated with...
No. I'm not saying there's no evil associated with it.
No. I'm just saying, let's for argument's sake say that there's nothing wrong per se with knowing where everybody is and knowing what everybody's doing, every precise detail of everybody's life.
Right.
That may be nothing wrong with that, but it's the people behind it. It's the people that control that.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I'm not saying that there aren't
It gives them a powerful tool, a very powerful tool.
Yeah. I'm not
The hypothalamic, I do believe it's the hypothalamic. You know, controls the emotions. They can switch your emotions, you know, very quickly. They can even control your eye movement with the flick of a switch, you know, just electromagnetism.
Okay.
This is proven. A gentleman from Spain did a test on a bull once, and whilst the bull was in full charge, he flicks the switch, and the bull, he made the eyes of the bull look up, and it made the bull stop dead, you know? The bull's like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah,
I'm going to show you that. It's by a man called Delgado.
The reason I justify my stance on some government monitoring is it used to be, before the internet and before we had all this technology, it was as simple as walking over to somebody to see what they were up to. But now we've got a whole new way to communicate and a whole new section of our lives, one that I think should be policed to an extent, the same way that it's policed in real life. If you directly threaten somebody, there should be consequences, just like in real life.
Oh, yes, I know. I mean, you know, the Ten Commandments. I mean, you know.
To that extent, I think it's okay. At the same time, I do agree with you that there are people who will use the systems that are put in place to help keep its citizens safe.
I mean, I'm not saying everybody in the whole world is bad and everybody in power is bad, you know, because I always do believe that there's some good somewhere out there, you know, and there's somebody on the inside always trying to help somebody on the outside. But all these people that we're talking about, all inherently satanic, all of them. And then once you learn what they are and who they are, you know, you realize just what is going on in the world.
Fair enough.
I mean, Bush did a Masonic handshake with his father on 9/11. I mean, it's not proof, but it's just like, you know, it's like, yes, we know, nobody else knows. But we know. When you grip the knuckle, you know, the second knuckle, I mean, it all has relevance to these people. Somebody looking at it would just say, well, it's just a handshake. But, you know, he's actually pressing on the knuckle. You can see it there.
Yeah, but see, that's the issue, though, is it's
subjective. I know.
No, it's that circular logic, though. We should believe it because the government tells us it's crazy, and therefore it validates the statements made by the supposed crazy. Where does it end and where does it begin?
I mean, it's not even the government, you know? I mean, sometimes, of course, in speeches, they condemn something or they ridicule something, but it's mainly the media.
Then it comes, like I said, it comes back to where does it start, where did it start, and how does it end? Mm-hmm. Who's crazy and who's a liar? You know, there's no way of determining these. Really.
Well, there is. There really is. There really is. I mean, Ted Turner, for example, you know, and Vince McMahon. These guys own a huge portion of the media. And Ted Turner is one of the advocates of, you know, depopulation. He says that the world is overpopulated. He pushes the myth, you know. That's one of their favorite myths, is to convince everybody that the world is overpopulated. Right. And let me tell you now, it's not. Everybody in the world could fit into Australia, and there'd still be half a square mile of Queensland left. Everybody, they all have a square mile themselves. The problem is that the rich own all the fucking land, and they're cramming everybody into tight spaces. You know, the projects, for example. They're called projects for a reason, because that's what they are. They're bloody projects. And they send the police there just to fish for criminals. You know, crime is just profit.
Yeah.
You know, the law system's no longer about, you know, what's right or wrong. You know, we were talking about the, you know, rules and laws and things. They're using it for their own good.
See, that's your conclusion. My conclusion is that...
But really,
it's a heap of shitty decisions that have led up to this point. You know,
When you look at the statistics, it shows like, what is it? 86% of males in America are all black. It just proves to you. It shows you. What do you really think that black people are much worse than white people?
Statistically, African Americans commit a disproportionate amount of crimes compared to whites and Latinos.
Or they get punished more than what the white folk does. No, because I tell you, if a white kid from a suburban area gets caught smoking weed, there's more chance of him being just given a slap on the wrist and told, go along and don't do this again. They'll take the weed off him and they'll go and smoke it themselves. Now, if that young chap was black, he'd be thrown in the back of a van. Just pure racism, and it does exist. And a lot of these policemen and Freemasons, a lot of judges, they're Freemasons. They're using laws for their own benefit. They smoke weed, yet they go and arrest people for smoking weed.
Yeah, like I said, though, a lot of these things are connected, and there is a deeper meaning behind it. But do I think it's a secret organization hell-bent on keeping a basically enslaved working class underneath thumb? I don't believe that.
But don't you see that they want to, of course, reward themselves, and that's what they do. They reward their own pockets. They're very rich.
I don't think it has anything to do with race. It has to do with them being able to get away with it, not who these people are.
A lot of KKK members are actually policemen.
There are only 3,000, or it's suspected that there are only 3,000 active Klan members in the United States.
Well, I wouldn't go off that as an absolute figure, because the numbers they put out there would be more misleading than anything, I would imagine. There's quite a large population of KKK members that don't even do any sort of votes or anything like that, so they wouldn't even be known about. They're so far out in the sticks, as they say, in the wilderness. They almost create a world of their own. Deliverance, for example. Those hillbillies.
It's a tough point to argue, and I guess I'll have to agree to disagree with you. I don't see anything. I don't see any organized maliciousness.
Really?
I think
so
it's
you don't see the CIA. You don't see the CIA bringing in, of course, heroin.
I think it's individuals doing bad things and other individuals seeing that they can do bad things of the same suit. I don't think that there's any
No, it's one rule for one and one rule for the other. I mean, there's a gentleman known as Mr. Loophole over here. It depends who you are. It depends who you are. For example, I mean, Mr. Loophole. Okay, he gets people, celebrities. He gets them out of trouble. Small things, parking fine.
Right.
Anything like that. Mr. Beckham, he was one of his clients, or still is. Mr. Loophole got people out of the shit that otherwise would have been in the shit. A common man, speeding ticket. He would have had to pay it, or else he would have been molested. And then you got bailiff charges and everything else. So it depends who you are, and they use the law when they want to. When they want to apply to somebody, they will, and when they don't want to, they can give them a pardon. They can give them a shorter sentence.
Right.
I'll give you an example. I mean, it's crazy how much the Madeleine McCann, the family has been protected by the establishment. If these were common, they're not common people, by the way. They're well connected. If they were commoners, they would have been investigated, genuinely. But instead, the establishment all got behind them. The media all got behind them. The media doesn't report things anymore. It doesn't look into things genuinely.
That's not what's profitable. What's profitable is gossip. It's having the hottest line, not the truth.
Yeah, but it's not always about gossip, and I do agree with you that now the news has become more about gossip and things that don't really matter. I know that, but what I'm saying is that the media can protect certain individuals or attack them depending on who they are and what they've done.
Yeah. Well, and you have to remember that a lot of these companies are run, or a lot of these news networks, a lot of these media networks are run by individuals who get to choose what stories get published and what stories don't, and how the stories get covered. And these individuals have their own agendas.
Yes, their own agendas, the political agendas. For example, Rupert Murdoch, he traded power. He was, in effect, the 13th cabinet member. He was almost a shadow government figure because he owned that much of the media and could give that much, promotion to Tony Blair at the time, That Tony Blair was like, okay, well, we'll trade. And that's what happened, Rupert Murdoch essentially covered for Tony Blair, and Tony Blair, did things for Rupert Murdoch. And inquiries are complete jokes, when they investigate, or supposedly, the 9/11 Commission. There's no genuine, investigation going on. I mean, for example, Bush and Cheney were all, testified behind closed doors. There was no, what's the word? A transcript. There was no transcripts of what was said. It was just a complete mystery. Now, surely, a figurehead such as Bush would be questioned rigorously about what he knew. But no, there was nothing like that. And all these inquiries are just merely cover-ups. They're just, put there for the people to say, well, look, they did an inquiry and they found it, not guilty. They've been carried out by Masons. That's what everybody, people say over here, oh, there's no point in voting for the left or there's no point in voting for the right. They're all the same. They're halfway there. They are all the same. And what they are is Freemasons. I mean, over here recently, there was a debate about whether or not, Britain should stay in the EU or not. And the two opposition leaders were both of the Bullingdon Club. Have you ever heard of the Bullingdon Club?
No, I've not heard of them.
Well, if you type on Google right now, Bullingdon Club, you'll see David Cameron there. You'll see Boris Johnson there. You'll see George Osborne. And they're all younger. And the Bullingdon Club, for example, was Masons only, toffs get-together where they go around and they destroy a restaurant. And then they pay for the damage before anybody calls for the police. It's them and us. There's the high society and there's the low society. They're trying to absolutely destroy the middle class. They would just have it that there's a lower class and an upper class. They want to make that divide as wide as possible.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. I'm not just dipping out or being a bitch, but I actually do genuinely have to go. It's almost 4 o'clock, so I've got to get around to making dinner for my family. I'll be on later.
What do you make?
What am I making? I don't fucking know. Probably grilled marinated pork tenderloin with a vegetable stir fry and a salad.
That sounds very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, wait a minute, dude. Wait a minute. You can't just go. When you say you're making dinner for your family,
yeah.
You got kids?
No, I have 4 younger siblings, but my mom works third shift, so I usually make dinner.
You're the guy.
Yeah.
You're the fucking man. Okay. Well, let me leave you with this.
Okay.
Either they lied to us and the Earth is bigger or it's flat, or they made a really big mistake and the Earth is bigger and it's flat or flat.
Or they're lying to us. They lied to us about the moon.
They either are wrong because they couldn't figure it out, or they were like they fucked up, or they're lying to us. Like there's no
because they could.
That's noticeable. You're not spinning. I know that you can't feel like you're spinning, and they could tell you that the atmosphere is dragging with the Earth all they want. But when you think of fluid dynamics, sorry, go ahead, man.
Maybe it had something to do with the Cold War bluff. The Cold War bluff. They've had to keep it going. They said they were the first into space. They said they were first.
A good reason to maintain the sort of plausible deniability of the fact that they had made either a mistake or they'd been lying to it.
I genuinely believe Van Allen radiation belts, genuinely.
No.
All
right, hey, I really gotta go. I will be back.
Yeah, you enjoy your dinner, man.
Okay, it's been very good talking to you. Very good.
I completely agree. It's nice meeting you guys.
Who's left on here now?
Oh, I'm still here. I'm actually gonna go grab another beer here, but yeah.
So
man.
you're a flat earther, yes?
Not quite. I mean,
you're breaking up there. Your line's very bad.
Your line's very fucking bad.
Oh, bugger.
You. No, I just don't think like the air is flat, and I don't think that they're like I pretty much don't think that the Earth is flat. But colloquially, like the colloquial meaning of like the term flat Earth, yeah, I'd say it's flat. Do you know what I mean?
You were breaking up awfully a lot there, but
probably your fucking hijacked satellite internet, man.
Bugger. Okay, maybe it will get better in a moment if we just a little bit patient here.
Hello.
Okay, I'm going to go and come back. Try that.
Let me try the Ace Ventura call too while you're doing that. Alrighty then. Yeah, it actually could be my internet's. I'm not sure. Anyway.
Is anybody there? Trevor, can you hear me? It says I get he's playing a character, but not sure I get it, really. Didn't watch Monty Python, so maybe that's why. Can you hear me? This is how I talk in real life. Is that so hard for you to imagine? I'm from a well-spoken background, my family are. Can you hear me? I'm from a well-spoken background, my family are. Yes, you can hear me. Oh, I should show you this. Okay.